David Beckham. The name alone carries weight. For decades, he's been synonymous with football excellence, fashion, celebrity, and global influence. But before the stadiums roared his name, before the trophies and the fame, there was a boy in East London with a dream and a ball at his feet. Now, in a remarkable turn, Beckham is going back. Back to the streets that shaped him. Back to the grassroots. Back to save a team that desperately needs him. East London isn't just a location on a map. It's a character in British football history. This is where raw talent meets grit, where council estates produce world beaters, where the game is played with heart and hunger. Beckham emerged from Leytonstone, a working-class area where football wasn't just a sport, it was a pathway, a dream, a lifeline. The parks, the pitches, the endless hours perfecting that right foot. This is where greatness was forged. But not every story in East London ends in glory. For every Beckham, there are thousands of kids whose dreams fade before they truly begin. Enter Westward Boys, an under-14 team struggling at the bottom of their league. They're losing matches week after week. Confidence is shattered. Team spirit is fractured. These boys love football, but love isn't enough when you're facing defeat after defeat. They need something more. They need guidance, structure, belief. They need a miracle. This is where Save Our Squad begins. David Beckham, global superstar, returning to his roots with a singular mission: transformed this struggling team in just one season. No celebrity cameo. No quick photo op, real coaching. Real commitment. Real stakes. Beckham will work with these boys, train them, mentor them, and try to instill the same winning mentality that took him to the top. Can a legend make a difference at the grassroots level? Can he save this squad? Imagine being 14 years old and David Beckham walks onto your training pitch. Not on a screen. Not in a magazine. Right there in front of you. For these boys, it's surreal. But Beckham knows the weight his name carries can be both inspiring and intimidating. He's not here to be worshipped. He's here to work. He rolls up his sleeves, gets on the grass, and starts building relationships. Because transformation doesn't happen through star power alone, it happens through trust, through connection, through showing up day after day. Beckham quickly identifies the problems. The basics aren't there. Passing is sloppy. Positioning is chaotic. There's talent, absolutely, but it's unfocused, undisciplined. So Beckham goes back to fundamentals. He runs drills that look simple but demand precision. He corrects technique with a coach's eye and a player's understanding. He teaches them that football at any level, grassroots or Champions League, is built on the same foundation: control, awareness, teamwork. Master the basics, and everything else follows. There's a moment that defines Beckham's approach. A free kick drill. The boys line up, take their shots, some good, some wayward. Then Beckham steps up. That famous right foot connects, and the ball curves into the top corner with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel. The boys are mesmerized. But Beckham's message isn't about showing off. It's about standards. This is what's possible when you practice with purpose, when you refuse to settle for good enough. Excellence is a habit, not an accident. But Beckham understands something crucial: saving a squad isn't just about football tactics. It's about mentality, confidence, resilience. These boys face challenges far beyond the pitch: school pressures, family struggles, the everyday battles of growing up in a tough area. Beckham shares his own story. The setbacks. The criticism. The moments of doubt. He shows them that even icons face adversity. What matters is how you respond. Do you crumble, or do you fight back? That mindset is the real game changer. One of the biggest revelations for Beckham is the fractured team dynamic. Cliques have formed. Some players dominate the ball, others fade into the background. There's talent being wasted because these boys aren't functioning as a unit. Beckham runs team building exercises, some football related, some not. He forces them to communicate, to rely on each other, to understand that 11 individuals will always lose to a cohesive team. Slowly, walls start coming down. Friendships form. A team begins to emerge. Beckham also recognizes the role parents play in youth football. Sometimes it's positive encouragement, support, sacrifice. But sometimes it's destructive pressure, living vicariously, shouting criticism from the sidelines. Beckham meets with the parents, shares his own experiences with his father Ted, who is demanding but always supportive. He asks them to let the boys play, to let them enjoy the game, to remember that at 14, development matters more than results. It's a delicate conversation, but a necessary one. Weeks into the project, the first signs of transformation appear. The boys are sharper in training. Passes are connecting. There's structure in their play. More importantly, there's belief in their eyes. They're starting to think they might actually be good. The next match arrives, a real test. Can they translate training ground improvements into matchday performance? The pressure is on. Beckham watches from the sideline, hands clasped, living every kick. This is what it's all about. And they win. Not just a win, a convincing performance. The boys execute what Beckham has taught them. They pass with purpose, move with understanding, defend with organization. When the final whistle blows, the eruption of joy is pure and unfiltered. These boys haven't experienced this feeling in months. Beckham's smile says everything. This is why he came back. This moment, right here, is worth more than any trophy he ever lifted. Hope is restored. The impossible suddenly seems possible. But this isn't a fairy tale with a straight path to glory. The next match is a harsh reminder that progress isn't linear. They lose badly. Old habits resurface under pressure. Some boys revert to selfishness. Defensive shape collapses. The joy from the previous week evaporates. Beckham gathers them afterward. He doesn't sugarcoat it, they were poor today. But he also reminds them that setbacks are part of the journey. Champions aren't made in moments of triumph. They're forged in moments of adversity. Beckham begins working with players individually, identifying what each boy needs. One lacks confidence, Beckham builds him up, gives him responsibility, tells him he's better than he thinks. Another is too aggressive, Beckham channels that energy productively, teaching controlled aggression. A third has raw talent but poor decision-making, Beckham works on his football brain, teaching him to read the game. It's painstaking, personalized work. This is coaching in its purest form, meeting each player where they are and helping them grow. The team captain is struggling under the weight of leadership. He's talented but young, and he doesn't yet understand how to lead effectively. Beckham, who captained England through triumph and controversy, sits down with him. He explains that leadership isn't about being the loudest or the best. It's about setting an example. It's about lifting others when they're down. It's about sacrifice. The conversation is intimate, honest. You can see the boy processing it, absorbing it, growing before your eyes. Beckham introduces tactical nuance. He teaches them to adapt during matches, to recognize patterns in opponents' play, to exploit weaknesses. He uses video analysis, something these boys have never experienced, breaking down their matches frame by frame. They see themselves making mistakes they didn't realize in the heat of the moment. They also see their improvements, the things they're doing well. Football intelligence grows. They're not just playing on instinct anymore. They're thinking players, and that changes everything. Word spreads through East London. Beckham is back, working with local kids. The community rallies around the team. More parents attend matches. Local businesses offer support. There's a sense of pride swelling, one of their own made it to the pinnacle and hasn't forgotten where he came from. For the boys, they're no longer just a struggling under-14 team. They represent something bigger: hope, possibility, community. That added meaning lifts them. They're playing for more than themselves now. Beckham brings in a sports psychologist. At first, the boys are skeptical: what does talking have to do with football? But they quickly discover the power of mindset. They learn visualization techniques, how to manage pre-match nerves, how to bounce back from mistakes during a game. They practice positive self-talk, replacing "I can't" with "I can." The mental tools complement the physical and tactical training. Football, they're learning, is played as much in the mind as on the pitch. Mid-season, the defining match arrives. They're facing the league leaders, a team that thrashed them earlier in the season. On paper, there's no contest. But this isn't the same team anymore. Beckham's work has taken hold. The warm-up is focused. The boys look confident but not cocky. The match kicks off, and from the first whistle, it's clear something special is happening. They're compact, organized, dangerous on the counter. The league leaders are rattled. Could they actually pull off the upset? 20 minutes in, the captain, the same boy Beckham mentored on leadership, receives the ball 30 yards out. Time seems to slow. He looks up, sees the keeper off his line, and strikes. The ball arcs through the air, dipping, curving, kissing the underside of the crossbar and dropping into the net. The celebration is wild. Even Beckham leaps from the sideline. That goal isn't just a goal, it's validation of everything they've worked for. It's proof that dreams nurtured in East London can still come true. But the match isn't over. The league leaders push hard for an equalizer. Wave after wave of attack crashes against the Westward boys' defense. This is where character is tested. Legs are tired. Lungs are burning. Doubt creeps in. But they hold the line. They communicate, cover for each other, throw bodies in front of shots. Beckham is screaming encouragement, urging them to dig deeper. And they do. Every single one of them gives everything. This is what teamwork looks like under fire. The referee's whistle pierces the tension. Full time. They've done it, beaten the league leaders. The boys collapse in exhaustion and elation. Parents rush the pitch. Tears flow freely. Beckham is mobbed by players who months ago didn't believe they could win a single match. This victory is about so much more than 3 points in a league table. It's about transformation, about believing in yourself, about what's possible when someone believes in you. It's the moment everything changes. After the match, Beckham reflects on what this experience has meant to him. Away from the cameras, he's emotional. This project has reconnected him with why he fell in love with football in the first place. Not the money or the fame, the pure joy of the game, the community, the power to change lives. He speaks about how coaching these boys has been one of the most rewarding experiences of his career. More meaningful, perhaps, than many of his accomplishments as a player. The impact of Save Our Squad extends far beyond Westward Boys. Other grassroots clubs in East London and across the UK are inspired. Coaches reach out asking for advice. Former professionals offer to volunteer. Funding for youth programs increases. Beckham's involvement has shone a spotlight on the grassroots level of football, revealing both its struggles and its vital importance. These local clubs are where the next generation is nurtured. They're where community happens. And now, they're getting the attention and support they desperately need. The transformation in the boys themselves is remarkable. Their football has improved dramatically, that's measurable in results and performances. But the deeper changes are even more profound. They carry themselves differently. They believe in their ability to overcome challenges. They've learned discipline, teamwork, resilience. Several have improved in school, applying the same dedication. These lessons will serve them whether they become professional footballers or not. That's the real victory, equipping them for life, whatever path they choose. As the season concludes, Westward boys have climbed from the bottom of the table to mid-table respectability. They won't win the league, but that was never the real goal. They've exceeded every expectation. More importantly, they've rediscovered their love for football. The final match is bittersweet, a celebration of how far they've come, but also an acknowledgement that Beckham's time with them is ending. He can't stay forever. But the foundation he's built, the belief he's instilled, that remains. The farewell is emotional. Beckham gathers the team one last time. He tells them he's proud not just of their football, but of who they've become. He reminds them that this is just the beginning of their journey. The work doesn't stop here. They have to maintain these standards, continue pushing themselves, keep dreaming big. He hands out personalized letters to each player, words of encouragement they can return to when times get tough. There isn't a dry eye on the pitch. So what is the legacy of Save Our Squad? On one level, it's about a struggling team saved from obscurity. On another, it's about David Beckham honoring his roots, giving back to the community that gave him everything. But the deepest legacy is the message it sends: grassroots football matters. Every kid with a dream deserves support, coaching, and opportunity. The next Beckham might be out there right now on a council estate pitch in East London. Or Manchester. Or anywhere. We just have to nurture them. For Beckham, this project represents his journey coming full circle. He left East London as a boy with dreams too big for his surroundings. He conquered the football world, became a global icon, achieved everything the sport has to offer. Now, he's returned not for glory or accolades, but to lift others up. To show that success carries responsibility. To prove that the greatest victory isn't what you achieve for yourself, but what you inspire in others. That's the mark of a true legend. Save Our Squad as a documentary has resonated globally. It's been praised for its authenticity, for showing the real challenges of grassroots football without Hollywood gloss. Viewers around the world have been moved by the boys' stories, inspired by Beckham's commitment, and educated about the state of youth sports. The documentary has sparked conversations about funding for grassroots programs, the pressure on young athletes, and how former professionals can give back. It's entertainment with purpose. Credit must also go to the existing coaching staff who welcomed Beckham into their world. These volunteers give their time week after week with no recognition, often using their own money for equipment and transport. They're the unsung heroes of grassroots football. Beckham's involvement elevated their work, provided resources, and validated their importance. The documentary showed that while star power can attract attention, sustainable change requires the dedication of everyday people committed to their communities. Both are necessary. Even the parents underwent transformation. Those initial difficult conversations with Beckham about sideline behavior and pressure paid dividends. Parents learned to focus on effort rather than results, to encourage rather than criticize, to let their children enjoy football without the weight of unfulfilled adult dreams. The atmosphere at matches changed dramatically, still passionate, but positive. The kids felt the difference. They played with freedom, knowing that mistakes wouldn't result in a car ride home filled with disappointment and lectures. Since filming concluded, several boys from the squad have been scouted by professional academies. A few have signed youth contracts. But regardless of their football futures, all of them speak about the experience as life-changing. They learned that dedication produces results. That teamwork achieves what individuals cannot. That setbacks are temporary if you refuse to quit. These lessons are already shaping their lives. Some have become mentors to younger players in their clubs. The cycle continues. Save Our Squad's message transcends football. It's about the power of mentorship. The importance of investing in youth. The responsibility successful people have to lift others. It shows that real change happens when someone with resources and influence chooses to engage deeply rather than superficially with a community. Beckham could have written a check and walked away. Instead, he gave his time, his expertise, and his heart. That personal investment made all the difference. The documentary also highlighted the very real struggles facing grassroots football in the UK. Lack of funding means poor facilities, limited equipment, and overworked volunteers. Many clubs are one bad season away from folding. Youth programs that could change lives simply don't exist in some areas because there's no money or support. Save Our Squad brought these issues into the national conversation. Politicians, governing bodies, and potential donors suddenly paid attention. That spotlight is desperately needed. This project also redefined the Beckham brand. He's always been admired as a player and recognized as a style icon and businessman. But Save Our Squad revealed a different dimension: authenticity, compassion, genuine commitment to social impact. It showed a man willing to be vulnerable, to face challenges he couldn't solve with a perfect free kick. This depth of character strengthened his legacy far beyond football. It proved that the measure of a person isn't just their accomplishments, but their impact on others. At its core, Save Our Squad is about belief. Beckham believed these boys had untapped potential. He believed that with the right guidance, they could transform. And perhaps most importantly, he helped them believe in themselves. That's the magic ingredient that no tactic or training drill can provide. When young people genuinely believe they're capable of more, they become capable of more. Confidence unlocks ability. Hope fuels effort. Belief changes everything. For East London, the documentary was a source of immense pride. This area has often been overlooked, stereotyped, underestimated. But Save Our Squad showcased its heart, its talent, its potential. It reminded the world that greatness can emerge from anywhere. That working-class communities produce world beaters. That East London isn't just where Beckham came from, it's where the next generation of talent is right now, waiting for their chance. The pride in the community is palpable and justified. Of course, not everyone embraced the project uncritically. Some critics argued it was a PR exercise, cynical content for a streaming platform. Others questioned whether one celebrity coach could make a lasting difference. Fair questions. But the proof is in the outcomes. The boys improved measurably. The community was energized. Conversations about grassroots funding were started. Even if Beckham's involvement was temporary, the attention, resources, and momentum it generated will have lasting effects. Sometimes, star power can be a force for genuine good. Save Our Squad ultimately makes a case for football's role in society. Yes, it's a sport, but it's also so much more. It teaches discipline, teamwork, resilience. It provides structure and purpose for young people. It builds community and bridges divides. For many kids, especially in challenging circumstances, football is a lifeline. It's mentorship, friendship, hope, and identity all rolled into one. Investing in grassroots football isn't just about producing professional players. It's about building better people and stronger communities. So where does Save Our Squad leave us? With a challenge and an opportunity. The challenge is to sustain the momentum, to ensure grassroots football gets the ongoing support it needs, not just when cameras are rolling. The opportunity is for all of us to contribute. Maybe you can volunteer to coach a local team. Maybe you can donate to a youth program. Maybe you can simply encourage a young person to pursue their dreams. Beckham did his part. Now it's our turn. The numbers tell their own story. Save Our Squad reached millions of viewers across multiple countries. Social media engagement was massive. Grassroots football organizations reported surges in volunteers and donations in the weeks following the release. The documentary trended globally, sparking discussions far beyond the football community. It proved that people are hungry for authentic stories about real impact. That they care about more than just elite-level sports. That grassroots stories, when told well, resonate universally. For Beckham, Save Our Squad may be just the beginning of this chapter. He's hinted at expanding the concept, perhaps working with teams in other communities or even other countries. He's become an advocate for grassroots sports funding, using his platform to push for policy changes. The experience clearly affected him deeply, reconnecting him with the essence of football and his own journey. Whatever comes next for Beckham, this project will stand as one of his most meaningful contributions to the sport that made him. What makes Save Our Squad so compelling is its human element. This isn't about tactics and formations, it's about relationships, growth, and transformation. We see real kids with real struggles and real dreams. We see a legend stripped of the glamour, working in muddy parks and community centers. We see vulnerability, doubt, breakthrough, and triumph. It's messy and imperfect, just like real life. That authenticity is rare in sports documentaries, and it's what makes this one special. It reminds us that behind every statistic is a story. Save Our Squad is ultimately a love letter to grassroots football and the communities that sustain it. It celebrates the volunteers who give their time, the parents who sacrifice, the kids who dream, and the local clubs that provide a home for all of it. It shows that football at its best is inclusive, transformative, and powerful. And it reminds us that legends aren't just made by what they achieve, they're defined by what they give back. David Beckham went home, and in doing so, showed us all what truly matters.